Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1017A, and today's date is July 8th, 2016, and the title of the episode is U.S. Government Has Lost a Narrative of a Recovered Economy. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I just finished an interview with Bill Holter, and this is a must listen to. What he is saying, it is over. That's his words. And I will have this up tomorrow morning, bright and early. And you can come over to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. You'll see the interview there. Or you can come over to the X22Report.com site. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see it on the right-hand side. Same thing with News Sentinel. Scroll down. You'll see it on the right-hand side, and you can play the videos there. Again, it will be up tomorrow morning, Saturday, bright and early, most likely around 8:30 Eastern Time. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we had another crazy day on the market. We see the market soared. Job numbers came out. Everyone was happy that the unemployment rate went up to 4.9%. Well, that doesn't make sense. It's funny, when the unemployment rate drops, the market falls. When the unemployment rate moves up, the market soars. Very interesting. So we've had job numbers that came out today. And we see the BLS reported that in June, jobs increased by a whopping 287,000, above not only the 180,000 consensus, but also well above the highest estimate, the highest increase since the 295,000 reported in October of 2015. So when we look at this, we say, wow, this is incredible. Everyone's getting a job. The unemployment number must then fall because everyone's employed. Instead, the unemployment number increased to 4.9%. But there's a problem. The establishment survey was a complete blowout because according to the household survey, the number of unemployed actually soared by 347,000. So what does this mean? It means that the establishment survey and the household survey, they're not matching up. And this is why we saw unemployment increase to 4.9%. The number of employed only increased by 37,000. So there's a divergence between the household and the establishment survey. The number of persons employed part-time for economic reasons decreased to 587,000. Well, that kind of makes sense because we know that retail is laying off. We know restaurants aren't doing as well. And we realize that this service economy, it's contracting along with manufacturing. We see the latest changes in the labor force. The number of people not in the labor force declined by 191,000. The participation rate rose modestly from 62.6 to 62.7. So not really going anywhere in that area. But when we look at these job numbers, we see that there's something very interesting happening. The household survey is showing that those people who are 55 and older, well, they're the ones who are getting the jobs. About 259,000 were in the 55 and over group. 28,000 were added in the critical 25 to 54 age group. So young workers, those under 24, lost a collective 107,000 in June. And what this means is 90% of all job gains in the month went to workers 55 and older. Those 25 to 54, have lost jobs. And the younger American worker is still down 3.4 million jobs since December of 2007. And you have to remember, the younger generation is the backbone for the economy, for the next generation going forward. If they are not working, if they have a huge amount of debt, they're not going to be buying houses. They're not going to be buying in retail. They're not going to be purchasing cars. It means we have a major problem. And this is what's happening. A lot of those people graduating high school, those people who are graduating college, They continually can't find high-paying jobs. They're going into the part-time sector if they can find those jobs. They're living at home, and they have a huge amount of debt. Now we see consumer credit, they're saying that it has jumped by $19 billion in May. And we see that they're saying, see, credit, everyone's taking it out, everyone's getting into debt, the economy is strong. Well, debt does not make the economy strong. Every time I hear debt increasing, it's a bad thing. And what that means is more and more people are getting into more and more debt. Doesn't mean that the economy is growing. It means they don't have the funds to purchase the things they want to purchase. But when we look at this, we see most of this is from student loans and auto loans. Remember, the central bankers, they do have the ability to try to convince the people to purchase big ticket items through loans, even if they have no money whatsoever. And this is how they're able to keep the economy running. The problem is in the retail sector, where these small purchases, it's very hard to convince people to say, okay, put it back on your credit card. They'll offer 0% interest. They'll offer credit, but most of the people, they're bogged down with payments. Their credit cards are maxed and they can't do it anymore. And when they go in for an auto loan, they feel like, oh, this is separate and apart because I need the car. And it's fancy, it's new, it's exciting. And remember, they're giving these away to all the subprime people. Student loans, they have the people convinced that once you finish college and you're in debt for $50, $60, $70, $100,000, you'll find that job and you'll just pay that off. But guess what? The people aren't finding that. They're finding that now they have a lot of debt and they can't find work. They have no way of paying this off. This is why the government came up with loan modifications, where it's based on your income, because they know that there are no jobs out there. Because if there are jobs out there, they wouldn't have to do this. We see the European bank crisis. Well, it is continually hitting other countries and other banks. We see Bremen Landsbank in Germany. Well, they're on the verge of failure. And this is spreading. The contagion is spreading across Europe. All of these banks are completely insolvent. Now, the Japanese people, they're very nervous because we understand that Bernanke is meeting with Kuroda, meeting with Abe, and it looks like they're heading into helicopter money, where this is their only thing that they have left to do here, because they tried everything else and it's not working. Actually, they're just prolonging the inevitable. But when we look at this, Japanese savers and investors, they are purchasing gold, but they're not keeping it with them because they're worried about confiscation. They're purchasing physical gold and they're storing it in Switzerland. Now, they've been purchasing gold for quite a while now, and we see that more and more people in Japan are doing this. They're buying even more because the number of buyers jumped 62% in the first 6 months from the second half of 2015. And we can see right now they understand what is happening. They understand and realize that this economy throughout the world, the private Western Central Bank economies, they're crashing. And the people are looking for insurance, because if this paper fiat currency devalues and it becomes worthless, what do I have? Well, I need hard assets. Well, stocks, that's not going to do it. Land, yes. Precious metals, definitely. Because precious metals have been around for thousands and thousands of years. You can bury fiat currency, you can bury an ounce of gold, come back 1,000 years later, guess what? The fiat currency worth absolutely nothing. Gold, whatever the going value is at that time. Now, the IMF, they've downgraded the Eurozone due to the Brexit. And of course, they're using the Brexit to say this is why the economy is doing poorly right now. Eventually, they'll probably blame it on the people. They blame everything on the people. They pass the debt to the people. They blame the people for the economy. But in reality, it's the central bankers. They control everything, and they can blame whoever they want. Things aren't going well, they blame the people. If things are going well, they take credit. That's how fascism works. Now, we're seeing all different types of bubbles happen at the same exact time. Think about what's happening right now. We have negative interest rates. We have a huge amount of debt. Italy's banking system, it is on the verge of collapse. Nearly 20% of their loans are non-performing, which really means they're garbage. Remember, this is not Greece. We're talking about 2 trillion euro banking system. The U.S., well, it's in a recession. Actually, I would call this a depression at this point. But let's say it's a recession. But, of course, the U.S. government, the central bankers, they're trying to tell us that everything is all A-OK. But when we look at industrial production, labor market conditions, the corporate bond market, delinquencies, the Conference Board leading indicators, inventory accumulation, ISM, it's all screaming one thing: recession, depression, collapse. China continues to devalue the yuan at a rate of about 12% a year. This is exporting a massive wave of deflation to the West. The U.S. dollar has begun the next leg up in its bull market. The first leg crashed oil, commodities, and emerging market. This leg will crater U.S. corporate profits and stocks as well. Corporations are leveraged more than they were in 2007, while earnings, well, they're at the levels of 2012. And of course, stocks, they're at all-time highs. The whole mess is just like late 2007, 2008 all over again. But there is a big difference between now and 2008. Central banks have already spent $4 trillion propping the system up. And they created the single biggest financial bubble in history. And this is not going to end well. As Bill Holter said when I interviewed him, it's over. And you should listen to this interview. It will be on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. You can go there tomorrow morning. It'll be up around 8:30. And he's right, it is over. From everything that we've been looking at, all the economic indicators, the whole system is about to come down. And this is why you need to be ready and prepared for what is coming. Continue to stock up on food, water. Make sure you have cash on hand because you will need it. Make sure you have gold, silver, junk silver, whatever you can get your hands on. If you can't afford gold, get silver. Get junk silver. Make sure you have a weapon to protect your family. Make sure you have toiletries, medical supplies. If you're going to Costco, to the supermarket, buy those canned foods. Stock up on them. Look what's happening in Venezuela. If you're going to lifereliance.com, go there. They'll deliver it right to your house. Water filtration systems, emergency foods. Wherever you're going, on the net, in the brick and mortar store, it doesn't make a difference. Continually stock up with the supplies that you need. You don't want to be left out there running around with everyone else because it is going to be a madhouse. And everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.